All right, let's get right into it. You know that feeling, right? You've done everything by the book. The perfect watering schedule, the fancy fertilizer. You've poured your heart and soul into it. And yet, your favorite plant, that tree you were so proud of, just gives up. It is, without a doubt, one of the most frustrating mysteries in gardening. But today, we're going to crack that case wide open.
You're seeing those yellowing leaves? The growth has completely stalled, and you just feel, well, helpless. You followed all the rules, you spent the money, and your plant is still suffering. I get it. But here's the twist. What if the problem isn't about what you're missing? What if it's about something you're doing? An act of care that's actually literally choking the life out of your plants.
So take a look at this. On the left, we've got what I call the tombstone. Yeah, it looks all neat and tidy with that soil and mulch mounded right up against the trunk, but what you're really looking at is a death sentence. Now look to the right. That's the stronghold. See that flare at the base? It's open, it can breathe just like it's supposed to. That is a plant that's set up to win. That little difference, it's everything.
Yeah, believe it or not, your very best intentions might be the root of the whole problem. So here's what we're going to do in this explainer. First, we'll expose this super common, super deadly habit. Then we'll get into the science of why it's so lethal. And most importantly, I'm going to give you a dead simple 3-step rescue mission to bring your plants back from the brink.
Okay, so this whole thing, it all comes down to one specific part of the plant that most of us completely ignore, or even worse, that we actively bury without realizing it. This right here, this is the key. Say hello to the root collar. It's that super important spot where the main trunk starts to flare out right before it dives down and becomes the root system. And here's the crucial thing you have to remember. Its bark was designed by nature to be in the open air, not suffocating under a pile of wet soil. You know, the best way to picture this is to think of the root collar as the plant's throat. It's where critical oxygen exchange happens. And if you cover it up, if you block it, you're essentially choking the plant. It might happen slowly, but the entire system starts to suffocate and shut down.
So what's actually happening on a biological level when we bury that throat? Well, it's a lot more sinister than just a lack of air. It kicks off this devastating chain reaction that literally causes the plant to turn on itself.
Plant roots, just like us, have to breathe. When they have plenty of oxygen, they perform what's called aerobic respiration. Think of this as easy, efficient, deep breathing that creates a ton of energy. But when you take away that oxygen, they're forced into anaerobic respiration. This is panic mode. It's a desperate survival tactic that creates almost no energy and has some really nasty side effects.
So when we pile soil or thick mulch right up against that root collar, we are cutting off its lifeline. We're cutting off the oxygen. The plant panics. It can't breathe the way it's supposed to, so it flips the emergency switch to anaerobic respiration. And this is where the self-destruction begins.
And here's how that tragic process unfolds. First, the roots start gasping for air, just trying to get by. Second, this panicked breathing creates toxins. We're talking about alcohol and acid. And third, these toxins build up in the soil, creating a poisonous bath that the plant is sitting in. The plant's own survival mechanism starts killing it. It's crazy.
And if that wasn't bad enough, it gets worse. This damp, toxic mess is a 5-star resort for deadly, root-rotting fungi. At the exact same time, the bark on that buried root collar, which is the plant's internal highway for food and nutrients, it just starts to rot away. So even if the leaves are up there making plenty of food, it has no way to get down to the roots. The roots literally starve, and the whole system just collapses.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? For so many of those struggling plants out there, the problem isn't some mystery disease or a nutrient deficiency. It's us. With the absolute best of intentions, we are burying them alive. But, and this is the important part, the good news is this is a surprisingly easy mistake to fix.
Okay, enough of the problem. Let's get to the solution. I'm going to give you a 3-step action plan that is so simple, but it is profoundly effective. You can go out and do this today and see a massive, massive difference.
Here we go. Step 1 is to excavate. Get down there with your hands or a small trowel and just gently pull that soil and mulch away from the trunk. You want to keep going until you can clearly see that root flare where the trunk widens out. Step 2, heal. If you see any dark, mushy, rotten spots on the bark you've just uncovered, gently scrape them off. You can even treat the area with a little lime water to kill any bad pathogens. And step 3, aerate, take a small rake or even a garden fork and just lightly fluff up the soil under the plant's canopy. This breaks up that hard crust and allows precious oxygen to flood back in.
So why is this so powerful? It comes down to this one number. A plant with proper access to oxygen can produce over 10 times more energy than one that's suffocating. Let that sink in for a second. 10 times. You're not just giving it a little help. You're flipping a giant power switch that unleashes a huge surge of energy for healing and new growth.
Now, if you want to speed up the recovery, you can call in some reinforcements. An amino acid spray on the leaves is like an IV drip. It gives the plant instant energy that bypasses the damaged roots entirely. You can also add some humic acid to the soil to help detoxify it, and a beneficial fungus like trichoderma acts like a personal bodyguard, protecting those new, fragile roots as they grow.
Rescuing a plant is a great feeling. But you know what's even better? Preventing the problem in the first place. So let's quickly go over the common mistakes so you can avoid them forever.
Here are the 3 big ones. First, volcano mulching. You've seen it, that cone of mulch piled high against the trunk. It suffocates the root collar just as badly as soil does. Always leave a donut-shaped gap. Second, planting too deep. When you put a new plant in, make sure the top of its root ball is level with or even slightly above the surrounding soil. Never bury it deeper. And finally, don't fertilize a weak plant with strong chemical fertilizers. Its roots are already damaged, and that's just like rubbing salt in an open wound. It'll do more harm than good.
You know, when you really get down to it, this isn't some new revolutionary discovery. It's actually the oldest wisdom in the world. We just need to look to the greatest gardener of all for the answer, nature itself.
Have you ever just walked through an old forest and wondered, how do these massive, ancient trees thrive for hundreds of years with nobody out here to take care of them? There's no gardener, no fertilizer, yet they're the picture of health. How is that possible?
Well, here's the secret. Nature gets it right every single time. Go find a big, healthy tree in a park or forest. Look at its base. I promise you, you will always see the root collar. The trunk will flare out, strong and stable, completely exposed to the air. Nature knows the plant has to breathe.
And that, right there, is the ultimate lesson. Great gardening isn't about fighting nature with more products and more intervention. It's about being a partner with nature. Our job is simply to find the barriers that we've accidentally put in place and then just get out of the way. Let the plant's incredible life force do the rest.
So I'm going to leave you with a mission. Go outside today, look at the plants you care about the most, and ask yourself one simple question. Can it breathe? If you can't see that root flare, you now know exactly what to do. You know how to perform a simple act of rescue, an act that might just save your garden.